series Introduction. Hey everyone, Vinish Kuding from Record Classes. It's an honor to be your guide through this series and wonderful world of Windows. There's a big market and big future of Windows. It has the largest share market till now. Windows 8.1 was released in October 2013 under the licensing of Microsoft. So before we start, one thing that I want to put out is, first of all, this would be a really great course for you in a couple of different aspects. Number one, if you are already an experienced Windows user who worked on previous version of Windows like Windows 2000, Windows XP, that is experience, Windows Vista, Windows 7 or Windows 8, well, this is a great way to learn about all the new features of Windows 8.1. Number two, maybe you're not experienced with Windows 7 or Windows 8. You might be working with some other desktop, but some other operating system basically, but that won't be a problem anymore because this course will still serve you very well. This will be a great course for you to bringing up an advanced user of Windows in you. The things we're going to focus on are installation. Now, before beginning with the installation, the things that you need to know are the requirements of Windows 8.1. What are the basic installation needs for Windows 8.1? What are the hardware requirements, as well as how much resource and backup of battery basically you need when you're doing on the laptop. Second thing is the customizing installation. Well, customizing installation basically means the things that you need to enter before finishing the installation. That is the CD key that basically you get while purchasing a Windows, your name, etc., that we will cover once the installation is started. So no need to worry about it. And third is the adding account. Adding account basically means adding your user information. That is the person who's going to operate the Windows 8.1 need to enter its information like his name. It might be any kind of name. Make sure you enter the correct name because that name will be used all over the Windows for everything. The last is setting the things up that you might need for Windows 8.1 to run and accomplish the task that you want it to perform. It might be Java installation, it might be driver installation, as well as the customizing of desktop, adding the icons to the desktop, and etc. We will see it later on, no need to worry about it. So before moving forward to the installation, the important thing which you need to understand is, first, if you're doing it on a fresh system, then it's okay. But if you're going to install Windows 8.1 on a system that is present in your home or a laptop that you have, the thing you need to know is, first of all, back up all your data because we don't want to mess with the data that is already present on the hard disk. So the important thing is, before proceeding with the installation of any kind of OS, you need to back up all the data, or you can simply shift the data to another hard disk or another drive. Next thing, if your hardware doesn't meet up the minimum requirement of Windows 8.1, then everything is gonna fail basically. So the two things you need to focus is, first, back up all your data. Second, your hardware shall meet the minimum Windows 8.1 requirement. Let us see some pre-installation details to make sure we carry out perfect installation. These are some minimum system requirements that are needed to run your Windows 8.1. Now first is the processor. So what is a processor? A processor is a logical circuit that responds to a process, the basic instruction that drives a computer. The older name was CPU, that is Central Processing Unit. Well, if you have Intel Pentium 4, dual core, Core 2 Duo, i3, i5 or i7, all will perform good with the clock speed equal or more than 1 GHz. Now the second point is RAM, Random Access Memory. Now you should know what architecture of system you are working with, whether it's 32-bit or 64-bit. This is again dependent on the processor. Bits in a processor refers to the size of data types that it handles and size of the registry. A 32-bit processor are perfectly capable of handling a limited amount of RAM, say 4 GB, while a 64-bit processor is capable of utilizing much more, that is greater than 4 GB. It might be 8 or 16 GB RAM as per the user requirement. Now third is the free hard disk space. Storage is not a problem anymore because a commodity system comes with 500 GB or 1 TB of hard disk nowadays. So I guess any user won't run short of storage while installing the Windows 8.1. Now if you're installing a 32-bit version of OS, well, it's dependent on the architecture of your processor. Hence, you're going to select the operating system based on the processor and the RAM. If you are storing 32-bit version of the OS, then it will require around 16 GB storage space, hard disk space, or if you're going to install 64-bit operating system, then it will require around 20 GB of space on your hard disk. Last is the graphic card. Microsoft DX9, that is DirectX 9, is a collection of application program interfaces for handling tasks related to multimedia, especially game, programming, and video on Microsoft platforms. So make sure your graphic card or onboard graphic is DirectX 9 enabled. There are some basic needs that you need to check and you're good to go. Next is the installation types. As you can see, there are basically two types of installation. The first is the real installation, that is done directly on the system that has no operating system on it, or if it has an old operating system on it and you want to install Windows 8.1 on it, then it is also a real installation. Now second is the virtual installation. First, we will focus some light on the real installation. Real installation is done on a real system with no OS or the old operating system. It might be Windows 7 or 8 or XP, anyone on it, and you want to remove it or install Windows 8.1 side by side, then you have to go with the real installation, that is a fresh installation of Windows 8.1. Second is the virtual installation. It is done on virtual machine present on the real system with pre-installed OS. Virtual machine. Virtual machine, as the name says, not real. Virtual machine is a software that allows an entire operating system that you want to try to run on another host OS, which is already installed on your system. Like here we're gonna see in this example, the host operating system present on this computer left side is Mac OS, as you can see the picture, while the virtual machine consists another OS inside the Mac OS, which is Windows XP. So basically there are two operating systems running simultaneously. First is the Mac OS, and inside Mac OS is the second operating system, that is Windows XP. So this is kind of an overview of virtual environment installation. You can always use virtual machine if you don't want to mess with your system and also want to try out any other operating system for work or just for experience or learning. The virtual machine is safe option for those who don't want to lose their data at any cost, present in the hard disk. If you have a good hardware, then you can fire up more than 2 or 3 operating systems simultaneously. The best examples of virtual machine applications are VirtualBox, VMware, Parallels, Hyper-V. These are the some best examples of virtual machine applications that you can install on your host OS, and then you can try any random OS on it. Well, in this series we are going to perform a real system installation. That is, we are not going to install OS on the virtual machine, but we are going to install OS on the system with no other operating system installed on it. Okay, now I'm assuming that you have inserted the Windows 8.1 disk in the DVD drive of your computer, and a pop-up will appear asking you whether you want to boot from CD. So if you want to boot from Windows 8.1 disk, then press any key, and then the screen will appear with Windows setup that will ask you the languages to install. Just leave the English as it is. Time and currency format, leave as it is. Or if you want to enter your local currency, then you can find through the list of it, and you can simply select, like I'm pretty much sure that I'm going to go with English United States only. And the next is the keyboard or input method. Just leave it as it is, because US is the standard layout method that every user uses, so it won't be a problem. Just click next, and now you can click install now. After that, setup will be starting. It will take a little while. Okay, now the screen appears which shows you that you have to enter the product key which you have got while purchasing the Windows disk. Well, I'm not going to show you what product key I'm going to enter, but make sure that before proceeding with the installation, you need to enter the correct product key that you will find on the back of your Windows 8.1 DVD case that you have purchased from the market. To wait for the license agreement. Well, if you can read and you have a lot of time to waste, then you can go through all the lines of the license and terms, or else you can simply take the I accept the license terms and simply click next. Okay, if you're going to install a new version of Windows 8.1 and want to erase everything that is previously installed on the system, then you have to go to the second option, that is custom install Windows only, advanced user. Or if you want to keep the document files of your previous operating system and want to install the new operating system over the previous one, then you have to click on the upgrade option, but it's always better to go with the clean and fresh installation of 8.1. So it's showing you the hard disk space minus 40 GB. It can be 500 GB, 1 TB, or any hard disk capacity that you have installed on a system. So we're gonna click on it and we're gonna select new, and it will show you the size in MB. Make sure that you using the correct size for the installation. If you remember, the minimum installation required for the OS is 16 GB for 32-bit version and 20 GB for 64-bit version. We are installing the 64-bit version of the Windows 8.1, so we are good to go with the 40 GB of hard disk space. So I'm gonna click apply. To ensure that all the Windows features work correctly, Windows might create additional partition for file systems. Now Windows is automatically going to create some other file systems, some other partitions to make sure that Windows is booting up in the time of rescue. So it's gonna make a partition that will be touched and operated by Windows only to ensure that it boots up correctly every time. So you just click OK and wait for the next screen to appear. Okay, one partition is created with the name system reserved. It is already being reserved by the system, so you're not going to store any file, or simply you don't have the permission to store anything on that partition. Simply select the next partition and click next. And there you go. Sit on a chair and relax for the setup to complete. And kaboom, we are done. Now the setup is going to restart your Windows. Well, don't worry if it starts again and again because it's the part of installation. So no need to worry. It will start again and again. So the next time when it boots up, don't press any key. Just wait for the Windows to start by its own. And wait and wait and wait and wait and wait. At this point of installation, the Windows is getting your device ready. So it will try to read up all your hardware and try to start up everything present in the laptop or a PC. During the process, your computer or laptop might blink many times, but no need to worry as it is the part of the process. All you have to do is wait. And once again, the Windows has restarted. And once again, I'm telling you not to worry as it is the part of the process. All you have to do is wait, wait. Well, grab yourself a cup of coffee if you want or some snacks because it will probably take some more time for the Windows 8.1 to start up properly. You should get used to of that rotating ring, because okay, here it is. Now this is the customization of installation process. You need to enter the details that you're gonna store in the PC, as well as later on you need to add a user to this PC. So you can give any name that you like. For example, I'm giving it a name accord underscore PC, and there's a variety of color over here that you can pick from. For example, black, gray, red, whatever you like. I'm going with blue. Next. So if you don't want to fall into advanced settings, you can simply go with the express settings, and here's the screen that asks you to add the user account information. So you have to give a correct username because this username will be used everywhere in the Windows 8.1 for every process. So make sure you enter your name and password correctly. You have to re-enter your password. And you can see over here is the logo of an eye. When you click on it, you will view the actual password in human readable form, that is English. Password hint, anything you like. And we are now good to go. So this is basically the last step of the installation process, which will be performed automatically by Windows 8.1 setup. So you don't need to enter anything now. It will install some of its pre-owned Microsoft apps that comes with the 8.1 disk. These colors are pretty awesome actually. It's kind of beautiful, I guess. Well, some people might find it annoying, but still, it's good. It's good to look at. And here we are inside the beautiful Windows 8.1. As you can see, this is the ribbon interface made for the touch input for Windows 8.1. While if you click on the desktop tile, and here lies the basic old Windows style GUI. Now, all you can see that you've got only one icon, that is recycle bin, on the desktop. Where the other icons? Not to worry, they're here only but hidden inside. As I've already told you that we have to set the things up after the installation. So we need to bring all the required icons on the desktop for a faster working. So to do that, right click on the desktop, go to personalize. On the left hand side corner you will find change desktop icons. Click on it and then a pop-up will appear showing the desktop icons along with the options of computer, user file, network, recycle bin and control panel. Tick computer, user files, control panel, then apply and OK. And soon the icon will appear on the desktop. Make sure that you have installed the correct version of operating system on your desktop or PC. To check that, you need to right click on the My Computer, or in Windows 8.1 case it is named as this PC. Right click on it and then go to properties. You can see over here Windows Edition, Windows 8.1 Pro. You can have all the details of the system listed over here. For example, my processor is Core i7 with the frequency of 2.4 GHz. The installed RAM is 4 GB and the operating system version is 64-bit. You should always use genuine Windows 8.1 CD key to activate Windows over the internet. Otherwise, you will fall the victim of software counterfeit or simply software piracy, which we don't want in any case. So that's all folks. This is how the Windows 8.1 is installed on laptop or desktop. In this class, we took a Windows 8.1 installation process. We started off by talking about the system requirements to install Windows 8.1. We defined processor. We saw how Windows version depends upon processor architecture. We saw the two types of installation that a user can choose as per requirement to try out new features or softwares, etc. We also got familiar with customizing the installation process and adding user information to add and operate a system. It's a pretty impressive operating system with installation setup that too very easy for any person to carry out. Lastly, we get familiar with adding icons to the screen to access the location rapidly. I hope this being informative for you. I'd like to thank you for viewing.